Good morning. Records blunder. Serious criminals may have been cleared to work with children after a mistake at the Home Office. John Reid has called an urgent meeting with the police.
Energy price hike. Prepare yourself for some of the biggest gas and electricity bills ever. But how do you get a better deal on fuel?
And Mersey misery. Arsenal trounced Liverpool 6-3 in the Carling Cup, Liverpool's worst home defeat for nearly 80 years. All to come on Wednesday, January the 10th, 2007.
Yes, hello, good morning. You're watching the News Hour. It's just gone 6 o'clock. We'll have more on those stories in the next hour.
Also to come, we'll be live in Islamabad as the legal battle over the future of Scottish schoolgirl Miss Rana, also known as Molly Campbell, enters a crucial phase.
And Apple unveils its long-awaited iPhone, but how much of a bite will it really take out of the global mobile phone market?
As ever, text us your thoughts on any of the stories this morning, 81189, or email us gm.tv. But first, just how damp are we going to be today, Claire?
Well, it's a pretty damp morning, Penny. Sadly, some heavy rain to come. There's a lot of flood warnings out. But the rain is scooting across the country quite quickly. We've got 3 bands of rain of most concern this morning down in the southeast, across Cumbria as well as Lancashire, across to Yorkshire, as well as the far north of Scotland, where we're seeing some heavy showers. And in between is cloud and also a little bit of sunshine across Ireland. And through the day, tending to clear off the scene, an improving picture. And most of us seeing some brighter weather for this afternoon, Penny.
Claire, thanks. Our top story this morning, and the Home Secretary John Reid is holding an urgent meeting after the revelation that details of serious crimes committed by Britons abroad have not been passed on by his department. That means rapists and killers could have been given the all-clear to work with children or vulnerable people. Gloria De Piero is at the Home Office. Gloria.
Good morning, Penny. Yes, more than 27,000 files detailing those crimes that British people have committed abroad. They haven't been placed on a national database, as this should have been. Instead, they've just been sitting in a filing cabinet in the Home Office. Well, now, the 500 most serious offenders are being looked at and checked by the Criminal Records Bureau to check whether any of those people have applied to work with children. Well, last night I spoke to an aide to John Reid. He told me the Home Secretary was absolutely livid at this latest blunder and the fact he wasn't told about it. Have a listen to John Reid on the late bulletins last night.
Well, this is a very serious problem, and I take it very seriously indeed. That's why I've called in the police and the Criminal Records Bureau tomorrow morning for an urgent meeting, and I want to establish the facts and satisfy myself that everything has been done to protect the public.
So Mr. Reid's defence then is, well, nobody told me about it, despite me asking for all the information about any problems that could be happening in the Home Office. Not good enough, though, say his political opponents. You're the Home Secretary, you're in charge of that department, you promised to turn the Home Office around, and you failed to do so.
Gloria, thank you very much.
Let's catch up on the rest of the news. Here's Michelle.
Thanks, John. Good morning. The man convicted of murdering British backpacker Peter Falconio has lost his appeal against the verdict. Bradley Murdoch, a 48-year-old drug runner, was found guilty 2 years ago of murdering Mr. Falconio in a remote part of Australia in 2001. Murdoch shot him before kidnapping and attacking Mr. Falconio's girlfriend, Joanne Lees. A leading children's charity is this morning warning our children are at risk from sex offenders because the government isn't doing enough. The NSPCC is calling for an overhaul of the sex offender management system. It wants worried parents to be able to get more information and for there also to be a more acute assessment of offenders before they're released into the community.
At the moment, all the resourcing is going on high-risk offenders, and while that has a superficial logic to it, what that means is that there's a very real loophole for people who are medium and lower risk, but who may still pose a risk to children.
A wildfire has swept through an exclusive beach resort in Malibu, destroying homes worth millions of pounds. Well, Carla Romano joins us from the scene of devastation. Morning, Carla.
Morning. You know, unbelievable to think that this was a $10 million home. Now just ash and rubble, complete devastation. And I hear the burnt out Mercedes in the driveway, a clue as to what stood here before. This is one of only 4 homes that have been completely destroyed by this fire, and this is a major celebrity strip here in Los Angeles. The houses go from about $5 to $30 million, and people here desperate to know what could have ruined their secluded exclusive paradise. Investigators continue to sift through the debris, searching for clues as to what could have started this Malibu fire, a fire which claimed 4 multi-million-dollar homes, leaving residents in a state of shock. This celebrity enclave is home to a lot of Hollywood A-listers, including Mel Gibson, Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston. Their homes are safe. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for American TV star Suzanne Summers, whose house was razed to the ground.
It was a beautiful house. It was a beautiful place to live.
This is all that remains of what was once a multi-million-dollar beachfront mansion. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of smoke and smouldering going on in the background, and firefighters are bracing themselves for other possible flare-ups.
We've got to make sure that those embers don't take off and blow into an area that's unburned right now.
Due to strong winds and high humidity, California remains on a high fire alert. Now, earlier this evening, investigators were at the side of the Pacific Coast Highway, the big motorway here, giving the impression that maybe it was somebody who'd thrown a cigarette out of their car window, which is illegal here anyway, but I think they're going to know within the next couple of days.
Carla, thanks. Let's have a look now at what's top on the web this morning. We've had lots of great weather pictures from you. You can get online now and vote for your favourite. Find out how a simple blood test can accurately predict the risk of a heart attack. And people at work are stressing out younger. Get help to relax online. All this and more on our website and now on your mobile. That's gm.tv. The time is now 6 minutes past 6. Back now to Penny.
Thanks very much, and that story that we've got on the web is also on the front page of the Daily Express, this new blood test that could save your life, talking about people who already have heart disease and then seeing whether they'll go on to have heart attacks or strokes. The Times, our top story today, blunders leave 500 offenders missing, and that picture there, iPhone or iFlop, we'll be talking about that a bit later on. The Daily Mail has that exclusive, created in a US lab, born here, the calf that signals that clone farming has arrived. The Daily Telegraph says that school catchment areas to be scrapped, the allocation of places being decided by a lottery under plans to stop the middle classes selection by mortgage, as in buying places where the schools are good. And the Daily Mirror, Leona, My Family Agony, that's the story about Leona, who won X Factor.
OK, time now 7 minutes past 6. Time for sport in a humiliating Carling Cup quarter-final defeat for Liverpool against Arsenal last night. They conceded 6 goals at home for the first time in almost 80 years. To talk about that 9-goal thriller and the other sporting headlines, joined by the former Chelsea player and manager John Hollins. John, good to see you.
Good morning, John.
It was an absolute cracker. I tell you, I said I'll stay up till half-time and I'll go to bed, and I could not leave the settee. I stayed to the end. Let's have a look at all 9 speeded-up goals. Absolutely sensational. Of course, Arsenal kicked off, Liverpool replied. What a free kick that was. And another.
Some for quite a long distance out as well.
And another, and another. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's, I think, the last one.
That's the last one.
Fantastic entertainment from a team of, well, Arsenal lads, basically,
yes.
and largely Liverpool reserves, but not exclusively Liverpool reserves, and some awful defending, wasn't it?
There was. I think, obviously, there's a lot of rusty people there, or rusty players that haven't played sort of the top draw or top level, most probably even sort of just playing practice games and things, but you do lose it very quickly if you're not playing. I think Hoopier has come back into the
he got the Liverpool goal. We just saw that. But Baptiste, this is a lad who's been deemed a failure by Arsenal. He gets 4 goals last night.
Yeah, it sort of looked a little bit overweight and a little bit heavy, not really in the position, but in a team so good as Arsenal are now, with all the young players, goal chances will come, and it's a matter of just walking them in.
Here's a portrait worth remembering. Look at the 2 faces of the respective managers midway through this game. Now, look at our man on the left. What a boo-boo he made by putting that team out. Would you agree?
I agree. I think all these trying to sort of keep people for the next game and the next game. The game that's most important is the game that's in front of you now, and you've got to play it and you've got to win it. Now, they're not going to win the Carling Cup. Oh, well, we won't win that now. We'll go into something else. But
they've got nothing left. They're not in the FA Cup. They're not going to win the Premiership. I mean, the Champions League is all they can hang on to.
And that's a massive ask. And I don't think the pressure's on him now. I think the pressure is really on him now in selection, I mean, they're even sort of might be getting rid of Bellamy, and there's a little bit in the camp that people start saying, well, he's not happy, he's not happy. So.
And if that's Arsenal's next team, those kids who were playing last night, I mean, what a future they've got.
Frightening. And they're actually trying to move players out as well. I mean, I think Lundberg now looks as though he's surplus to requirements because they've got other players coming in. The work that Arsene Wenger has done, I saw them at Fulham lose 2-1 and I thought they were very poor, but since then they've slowly but surely turned around.
Quick word about your old club tonight, taking on Wycombe Wanderers in the Carling Cup. Any surprises there?
I don't think so, not now. I think they had a good win on Saturday, yes, against a low side, but Wycombe, I think they'll be considerably strong. I think that they won't make the same mistake that Benitez made.
We'll see. John, good to see you. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.
It's 11 minutes past 6. The father of schoolgirl Molly Campbell is waiting to hear if he can appeal against the decision to return her to Scotland. The 12-year-old, also known as Miss Barana, has been at the centre of an international legal wrangle since she fled from her mother's home in the Western Isles to live with her father in Pakistan. Well, our reporter Simon Mawson has been following the case, joins us now live from the court in Islamabad. What's happening in court, Simon?
Good morning, Penny from Islamabad. Well, today we're back at the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of Pakistan. It's being held in front of the Lord Chief Justice, the equivalent of our Lord Chief Justice in England. Now, this is an unprecedented case for Pakistan, nothing like it's been heard here before. Therefore, you can imagine the intense media attention and attention from all legal angles as well. Now, there's a lot of debate over this protocol between the UK and Pakistan, which is basically an agreement to return any child and minor to their original country in a custody battle. Now, Misbah's mother, Louise Campbell, is arguing that she should be returned to her because the Scottish courts granted her custody initially. However, the father is saying, and his solicitor is saying, that this is only an agreement. It's a legal setting for them, so they don't actually have to return Misbah. And it's a case of Misbah's welfare. And Misbah, as we know, we've seen her speaking to us on GMTV, is adamant that she wants to stay in Pakistan. She made that direct appeal to her mother on GMTV, saying, please, Mama, if you love, let me stay here. Now, the family arrived in court this morning, confident they'll keep Misbah with them here in Pakistan. Her father said that he told me he's hoping for a positive outcome for them. I've been speaking to her brothers this morning as well. They were both in court, and they feel very strongly about the fact that their mother hasn't even been in touch with them, not throughout any of these court proceedings. I don't know if that has been, obviously, maybe she's been advised not to get in touch with Misbah, but they feel that if she really wanted them back, then she would be contacting them directly or even perhaps be here. And so they feel very much that they want to stay with their father, they want to keep the family together here in Pakistan and in Lahore, which is where they live.
Simon, thank you very much.
Time now 30 minutes past 6. You're watching the News Hour here on GMTV, and these are the headlines you're waking up to this morning. The Home Secretary is holding an urgent meeting this morning after the revelation that a Home Office blunder may have allowed dangerous criminals and sex offenders to work with children.
The Australian drug runner Bradley Murdoch has lost his appeal against his conviction for murdering the British backpacker Peter Falconio.
And investigations are continuing into the cause of a fire which destroyed mansions in the show business suburb of Malibu in California.
Now, the next gas and electricity bills to land on your doormat are likely to fall with a rather heavy thud. Domestic energy prices are sky high, despite suppliers like British Gas, Powergen and Scottish Power paying much less for fuel than they did a year ago. In a moment, I'll be talking to Lynn Foldswood about what you can do to cut your energy bills. But first, Jonathan Swain is with the disgruntled Green family in Solihull.
Good morning. Well, many of us may feel that our money is going up in smoke because, as you say, energy prices have soared over the past year or so. Here we are with the Green family this morning. That's Dad down there, there's two daughters, and they live in a fairly average 3-bedroom but semi-detached, but their bill has just dropped through the doormat, and guess what? Their bill is absolutely astronomical. Well, gas prices have actually increased by some 39% over the past year. British gas prices have actually increased by some 85%. Well, with me this morning is Mum, Mandy. Morning to you, Mandy.
Morning.
Well, this is your bill that's just come through. Normally you pay by direct debit and you pay £135 per month anyway,
That's right,
and yet your bill's come through for what? We wanted another 150 quid from you.
That's right. Thought everything would be sorted because we decided to budget, pay monthly, so we thought, you know, no extra charges. But it actually works out that you can see from the bill we actually owe them money still. So a bit disappointed. We thought we were doing the right thing, but obviously not.
And you considered switching, have you?
We have considered switching. We know that we can save money by looking on the internet by going to another provider. Only problem is we need to clear that debt first before we can actually do anything about it.
Well, let's bring your dad, Phil. Phil, because you were with British Gas, weren't you? But now you switched and saved yourself some money.
I was with British Gas and now I'm with Atlantic. And I've had my first bill in after about 6 weeks of being with them. And I reckon I was saving about £12 or £15 on the first month.
Brilliant. So it just goes to show that it can be done. So get onto those websites. You could save yourself some money.
Jonathan, thanks very much. I'm joined now by Lynn Foldswood. Good morning. Well, suppliers say that the point is the reason why the prices are so high is because they pay for their fuel way in advance, and that's what we're paying for now.
That's what they say, but the fuel prices have dropped to about half. When you get somebody like David Cameron coming out the woodwork this week and saying this is awful, this should be investigated, then you know something's wrong. You know, and the top politicos are also shouting about it. People in this building are giving me their bills and saying that their bills are up nearly double what they were a couple of years ago. What's happening at the moment is just ridiculous. We know the prices are dropping. It's been a mild winter. The companies surely should be averaging out the money somehow and bringing down bills for families, because the average family is now paying £1,000 a year, where before they were paying something like £550 a couple of years ago. You know, the prices are getting ridiculous.
And are they getting ridiculous with everybody? So in other words, even if we changed, are we still going to be paying a lot?
Yes, we're all in for a bad time, and I think the companies actually haven't managed it very well. And if one of them broke ranks and brought down their prices dramatically and we all piled in there, the rest of them would follow suit. You know, it can actually be done. We just need somebody to break ranks to do it.
So at the moment, would you suggest changing your supplier?
Well, John and I looked at our bills last night and we're absolutely horrified. So I'll certainly be, and we're with one company rather, for gas and electricity. I'd certainly be investigating changing, because again, when people switch, you can save money. Now you have to be careful. If you ring up Energy Watch, then they can help you with how to switch. And I think the number's on the website, and I hope the number will be coming up on the screen sometime later this morning. You can also go on their website and you'll find they've got a new confidence scheme where there are certain companies that you can go to with confidence and they'll arrange your switching for you. The problem was that companies were being paid, and still are, for switching you to another supplier. They get typically £40. Some companies were switching to the ones that appeared to benefit them better rather than you. So there's a lot of muddy water around at the moment with this.
Right, so you can only find out whether it's a good on Energy Watch, which is the...
Well, no, Energy Watch is independent, set up by the government, so they're a great source of advice and help. And they've got the list of the suppliers on there on their websites. My tip is, if you're thinking of switching, don't just ask one company to quote you, ask about 3 of them. You know, you wouldn't just go to the first builder that came your way, so check with about 3 switching companies.
And what about if you have a service and repair contract with the supplier you're with? Does that come with you?
Well, the British Gas one, as I understand it, is separate from your bill anyway. If you've got, say, a service agreement in your boiler, then you can carry on running that. But usually the companies operate in different ways, so you will have to talk to the company if you get a service agreement and find out what happens to it.
Is it worth switching year after year if it's so easy?
Well, the trouble is that the companies are all wise to this. They're doing special deals so they look attractive, and then they're pushing their prices up a bit down the line. So it's very difficult to tell. But I think if we all got switching, and there are millions of people that have never switched from British Gas, and for their loyalty they're being repaid. Yeah, you're being repaid by higher prices.
Sheer laziness.
Yeah. Well, anyway, get switching. Check.
Oh, well, we'll let you go off and feed your
we'll
let you get off and feed your parakeet. And thank you very much, Lynn. And after 8 o'clock, British Gas will be telling us why its bills are up 50%. Do send in any questions that you have. Text us 81189, email us gm.tv.
Time now 19 minutes past 6. Still to come here on the News Hour, the latest weather picture from Claire.
And hounding Kate, why Prince William's girlfriend has had enough of all the media attention.
A new landscape.
I'm drunk on this place, Sarah. It's in my blood.
Bringing new hope.
This is incredible!
And new challenges.
We're getting married here tomorrow.
I promise you the marquee will be up.
You are obsessed with those animals.
It's my job!
Could somebody tell me why there is a goat in the kitchen?
Dislocated its front leg.
A brand new series of Wild at Heart. Sunday at 8, ITV1.
Adios. Adios!
Women everywhere are saying goodbye to weight they don't want with the help of Adios.
Adios!
A herbal remedy traditionally used as an aid to slimming. So why don't you try
Adios!
the nation's favourite?
Pot noodle. Only 5% fat. There's love you.
Dry, cracked lips? Medicated Blistex Relief Cream leaves lips soft and healthy looking. Blistex Relief Cream. Beautiful healing.
For all 5 main symptoms of colds and flu, nothing is more effective. Cavonia cold and flu medicine with clout, part of the Cavonia range.
Ooh, trapped wind and a bloated tummy, but I've settled it fast with Wind Settlers easy-to-swallow gel caps.
Wind Settlers bring express relief from trapped wind and bloating. There's up to 30% off at Quick Fit this month, so come on down.
Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban prison. Swear to me you won't go looking for Black.
Why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
There's something moving out there. I did my waiting! 12 years of it!
I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna kill him.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, a movie premiere, Saturday, 6:45.
Welcome back, 21 minutes past 6 at the time. You're watching the News Hour here on GMTV. Time for us to brighten your day a little with an idea for your summer hauls.
Yes, Matt Arnold has been looking at the south of France and the home of all things beautiful, Saint-Tropez.
Once a sleepy fishing village, Saint-Tropez was changed forever with the arrival of Hollywood starlet Brigitte Bardot in the 1950s, which soon made it the place to be seen. It's now the favourite sunspot of the rich, beautiful and the famous.
And it's not just celebs that come here. 100,000 of us tourists pack the streets every day in the hope of catching a glimpse of their favourite A-lister and seeing how the jet set really live.
Saint-Tropez is built on a slope, with all the action sliding towards the heart of Tropezian life, Vieux Port. It's here that the rich crowd hang out with a somewhat smug grin on their faces whilst lounging on their yachts. But I couldn't help but wonder what it's really like to live like a star.
Well, I've been given the chance to look around a luxury plaything, so it's shoes off, and let's get on board and see what it's got. Just take a look at this, the absolute lap of luxury.
With walnut finish, leather sofas and first-class living conditions, it's easy to see why these floating homes are uber popular with the rich and famous. You know what? I think I could get used to this. And you certainly won't be short of a shop or two, with boutiques galore and streets overflowing with rather pricey art. The beaches of Saint-Tropez are about 2 miles out of town, with Pampelon Beach hosting clubs such as Le Voile Rouge and Club 55, which are hot favourites for celebrities such as the Beckhams and Paris Hilton to test drive this season's swimwear. But if you're planning a visit, you may need an A-list bank balance.
This is one of the region's most famous beach clubs, but it's going to set you back to come here. It's £5 for an umbrella, £10 for a mattress, £15 for a sunshade. Plus you've got to book at the local restaurant to even get a place at all. If you just come through here to the public beach, bring your towel because it's absolutely free.
Fed up with all the glitz and glamour, then why not wander down to the Place des Lys for a spot of French action as it used to be, and a gentle game of pool.
Champion of Saint-Tropez.
Champion of Saint-Tropez. Thank you very much, monsieur. We travelled to the south of France with Eurocamp and stayed at the L'Étoile d'Argent campsite. 7 nights, excluding flights for a family of 2 adults and 3 children, cost from £217 staying in a tent and £306 staying in a mobile home. Other tour operators going to the south of France include Thompson, Alfresco and Key Camp.
Matt Arnold down in the south of France, lucky lad.
You could feel, I was just going to say, you can feel the heat.
You could feel the heat, you could feel the heat.
Yes.
And envy the tan, certainly. Let's find out what the weather's doing here. Here's Claire.
Damp.
And so for the north of England and North Wales, we'll have
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestle Cereals. Whole grain for the whole family every morning.
Not much heat to feel here this morning, sadly. There's a lot of cloud, and that cloud's covering 3 bands of rain. 1 band of rain producing some heavy rain this morning across the southeast. That will clear off the scene over the next few hours. You can see the cloud is very thick indeed. And as we head northwards, there's another band of rain. This is extending down from Yorkshire, Lancashire, Cumbria, down towards Wales. Heavy bursts of rain to come this morning. The Met Office has issued warnings of heavy rain at least for the next 3 or 4 hours. And across the far north of Scotland, we're seeing some heavy showers there. This is the floodline number for England and Wales and Scotland. We are concerned about the rain over the next few days and obviously flooding, because we are expecting more rain to come tonight. And in fact, the winds are going to pick up as well. So this afternoon then, you can see this is the band of showers which are moving from the far northwest to the far northeast. Over the high ground, we're expecting some snow over the Grampians, the Cairngorms. See, it's going to be very breezy, and it will slowly clear away through the afternoon. Further south, it's a slightly different story. You can see here any rain has cleared, and you should see just 1 or 2 showers and also some sunshine. In fact, later on in the day, most places becoming dry, and temperatures much lower than they have been, about average for this time of year. Northern counties of England continuing to see that rain through the morning, gradually clearing off the scene through the afternoon. A legacy of showers in its wake, and you can see here showers are extending down to the Midlands. East Anglia then seeing that cloud and that rain gradually clearing off the scene through the morning into the afternoon. Some heavy bursts to come first thing, and then it will improve later on today. And the West Country actually not doing too badly. That's where the highest temperatures will be. It's going to be a breezy afternoon. At least it'll be an improving picture as those showers in the north clears, the rain across the central band clears, and the rain towards the southeast. Those showers could actually turn a little bit heavy for a time before dying out across the western facing coast. And then tonight it is a repeat performance really. A clear skies initially across England and Wales and some parts of Scotland. Then this band of cloud and rain moves in. It moves in, bringing some heavy rain to many parts by the early hours of the morning. Severe gales in the north, gusts up to 17 miles an hour, and further south, gale force winds also. So that's how we see tonight. Again, over the higher ground of the Pennines, as well as the Grampians, you could see the rain turning to snow. And this is Thursday, the rain clears off the scene, and then more rain for Friday. Here's your summary. Get a 5-day weather update for your postcode on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning, 6:28. It's Wednesday. It's January the 10th.
You're watching the News Hour on GMTV, and in the next half hour, Files fiasco. A blunder at the Home Office may have led to serious criminals being allowed to work with children. Campaigner Sarah Payne gives us her reaction.
Photo finish. Some of Britain's biggest papers have pledged not to use paparazzi photos of Prince William's girlfriend Kate Middleton. We'll talk to a leading photo agency.
And iPhone. Apple hopes its new iPhone will take a big bite out of the global market, but can it live up to expectations? However, our top story this morning, the Home Secretary John Reid is holding an urgent meeting after the revelation that details of serious crimes committed by Britons abroad have not been passed on by his department. That means that rapists and killers could have been given the all-clear to work with children or vulnerable people. Gloria Pirro is at the Home Office, scene of this latest fiasco. Good morning, Gloria.
Good morning, John. Yes, the Home Office is the government department responsible for ensuring public safety. So how did 27,000 files detailing those crimes that have been committed by British people abroad not get entered onto a national database as they ought to have done, but instead just simply sat in a filing cabinet in the building behind me? Well, at the moment, the 500 most serious offenders from those 27,000 are having their records checked to see if any have applied to work with children. Last night, John, when I spoke to John Reid's aide, he told me that the Home Secretary is absolutely livid about this and that he vowed to put it right. Have a listen to the Home Secretary himself on last night's bulletins.
Well, this is a very serious problem, and I take it very seriously indeed. That's why I've called in the police and the Criminal Records Bureau tomorrow morning for an urgent meeting, and I want to establish the facts and satisfy myself that everything has been done to protect the public.
So Mr. Reid's defence is that nobody told him about it. But his political opponents say that's really not good enough. You're the Home Secretary, you ought to know what's going on in your department. You promised to turn this dysfunctional, his words, department around, and this is evidence that he hasn't done that.
Gloria, for the time being, thanks very much indeed.
It's 6:30. Here's Michelle at the news desk.
Thanks, Penny. Good morning. The man convicted of murdering British backpacker Peter Falconio has lost his appeal against the verdict. Bradley Murdoch, a 48-year-old drug runner, was found guilty 2 years ago of murdering Mr. Falconio in a remote part of Australia in 2001. Murdoch shot him before kidnapping and attacking Mr. Falconio's girlfriend, Joanne Lees. The first wave of new US troops will go to Iraq before the end of the month. A senior defence official said the move was part of President Bush's plan to increase troop numbers by up to 20,000. The President will give full details tonight. A British man accused of murdering his wife and his baby daughter in America will go on trial today. 28-year-old Neil Entwistle is accused of shooting his American wife and their 9-month-old girl at their home in Massachusetts almost a year ago. A wildfire has swept through an exclusive beach resort in Malibu, destroying homes worth millions of pounds. Carla Romano joins us from the scene of devastation. Good morning, Carla.
Morning. Well, what a difference a couple of hours made, because that's all it took to burn down this $10 million home, now just a wasteland. In fact, nothing here seems to have survived, not even the burnt-out Mercedes in the driveway. Now, this is just one of 4 properties completely destroyed in the celebrity stretch of coastline, where homes go for between $5 and $30 million. For 4 families tonight, that money has been burnt to a crisp. Investigators continue to sift through the debris, searching for clues as to what could have started this Malibu fire, a fire which claimed 4 multi-million-dollar homes, leaving residents in a state of shock. This celebrity enclave is home to a lot of Hollywood A-listers, including Mel Gibson, Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston. Their homes are safe. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for American TV star Suzanne Summers, whose house was razed to the ground.
It was a beautiful house. It was a beautiful place to live.
This is all that remains of what was once a multi-million-dollar beachfront mansion. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of smoke and smouldering going on in the background, and firefighters are bracing themselves for other possible flare-ups.
We got to make sure that those embers don't take off and blow into an area that's unburned right now.
Due to strong winds and high humidity, California remains on a high fire alert. Now, investigators earlier this evening were working along the side of the Pacific Coast Highway, saying that maybe one of the causes could have been somebody throwing a cigarette out of their car window.
Carla, thanks. In football, it was a thoroughly miserable night for Liverpool as they were beaten 6-3 by Arsenal in the Carling Cup quarter-final. It's the first time in almost 80 years that Liverpool have conceded 6 goals at home. Arsenal now play their North London rivals Spurs in the semi-final. And here's what's top of the web this morning. We've had lots of great weather pictures from you. You can get online now and vote for your favourite. Find out how a simple blood test can accurately predict the risk of a heart attack. And people at work are stressing out younger. Get help to relax online. All this and more on the website and now on your mobile. That's gm.tv. The time is 6:34. Back now to John and Penny.
Now, if you would like a nice, big, shiny cheque tomorrow morning, £20,000. Does come presented in person by Keith Chegwin, though, but...
Drawback to everything.
Yeah, there always is.
Here are the details.
Well, hey, GMTV is giving you the chance to win £20,000 every day this week. I can be delivering you a cheque for 20 grand. Spend it on whatever you want. Buy a few holidays, take a whole year off, buy a few cars, or even have a full makeover so no one will recognise you. For your chance to win, here's the question you need to answer. What was Victoria Beckham's name in the Spice Girls? A. Baby, B. Posh, or C, scary. You can dial 09068 100 100, or you can text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. You can also enter via the website, online or on your mobile.
And the winner will be surprised live by Checkers himself on the show tomorrow.
Right now, here's what's happening where you are.
Good morning and welcome to the breakfast news from ITV Granada. First, a security guard's been jailed for 25 years for the kidnap and robbery of a Manchester backpacker in Ecuador. Jenny Pope disappeared a year ago. The court heard 29-year-old Francisco Chica drained her bank account and stole dozens of her belongings. Prosecutors were unable to charge him with murder because her body has not been found. A man's fighting for his life in hospital after a suspected road rage attack in Manchester. The 30-year-old victim and his girlfriend were struck with a metal bar at their home in Stretford by 3 men, minutes after a minor road collision last night. Detectives are trying to establish if the suspects followed him home. Controversial plans for a machine in North Wales that would dispense clean needles for drug users could be given the green light today. Chief Constable Richard Brunston wants to site it outside the police station in Colwyn Bay. The council will decide whether to go ahead with the plans later, but have met with a mixed reaction from local people.
Just chase them. They're no good to anyone, the druggies.
If they use it, yeah. If they use it, it'd stop them from leaving them lying on the streets, wouldn't it?
If it's outside the police station, then, you know, I don't see it being a problem.
On to sport, and in last night's Carling Cup action, Liverpool had another nightmare against Arsenal, who've become the first team to score 6 at Anfield in over 70 years. It started badly for the Reds when Jeremy Aliadiri scored after just 26 minutes. Liverpool equalised 4 minutes later with a Robbie Fowler goal. Then Arsenal sank another 3 before half-time. Although Liverpool fought back with 2 late goals, it wasn't enough to stop a 6-3 defeat.
Pity at the end because I think that the team was working really hard, but we conceded too many goals in the first half. Every time that they were going forward, they scored 1 goal, and then it's difficult to manage with this score. No? It's disappointing for us and also for the supporters.
And in last night's other FA Cup result, Burnley were knocked out after losing 3-2 to Reading, Adi Akinbayi and Gareth O'Connor scoring for the Clarets. And one result from League Two, where Chester were comfortable 2-0 winners over Grimsby. And that's it for now. I'm back at 7:05. Time now for a look at the region's weather.
Relief for dry, chapped hands when they need it most. Nivea Hand SOS Intensive Balm.
Cloudy with spells of rain this morning, but it should be dry and sunny by noon. This afternoon it'll stay dry with plenty more sunshine and just the odd shower. Highs of 8 Celsius, 46 Fahrenheit, so cooler than recent days.
Welcome back. 22 minutes to 7 is the time. A quick look at the morning papers. The Times leads on our main story this morning. Yet another blunder at the Home Office, ignoring 27,000 files about serious offenders and no idea where they are or what they're doing. Daily Mirror, Leona, my family agony. That's a story about the X Factor winner Leona Lewis and haunted by a family tragedy. The Daily Mail features this story and front page picture. Created in a US lab, born here, the calf that signals clone farming has arrived here in the UK. And finally, in the Daily Express, a new blood test that could save your life, a cheap blood test that could prevent tens of thousands of deaths from heart attacks and strokes, according to the Daily Express.
Paparazzi photographs of Prince William's girlfriend Kate Middleton will no longer be published by The Sun, The News of the World and The Times. The decision follows criticism of the army of freelance photographers camped outside her London home, as Michelle Morrison reports.
Look at every newspaper's front page today and you may be surprised by what you see, or rather what you don't see. None of them, including the tabloids, show any pictures of Kate Middleton celebrating her 25th birthday yesterday, despite the welcome she faced when she walked out of her front door. It comes on the back of a decision by a major news group to no longer print paparazzi snaps of Prince William's girlfriend. Her every move has been photographed recently in a situation that's been compared to that experienced by Diana. Rather than just printing pictures of Kate for the sake of it, many of the papers have instead dedicated column inches to debating the intrusion into her life. Prince William has said that he wants more than anything for the paparazzi to leave his girlfriend alone, and Kate's lawyers are reportedly to complain to the Press Complaints Commission about the way she's being treated. But if other newspapers follow the example set to refuse photos of Kate, will we see an end to Kate's paparazzi chase, giving her something else to celebrate this week?
Well, one photo agency which supplies celebrity pictures to the media is called Splash. Its London Director of Operations, Joe Sene, joins me now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Will that decision by News International not to show paparazzi photographs of Kate Middleton have any effect, do you think?
It certainly will, as in sales of pictures of Kate Middleton will not happen, I presume, from now on in the News of the World, the Sun, the Times and the Sunday Times. But there's worldwide interest in Kate Middleton. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realise. People around the world are interested in Kate, they're interested in William. There's also worldwide interest in Harry and Chelsea. People want to know what they're doing and they want to see pictures of her.
And how much money do photographers make out of a picture of I mean, say, for example, it's just the picture of Kate Middleton. I mean, we saw the photographers there snapping her as she was walking along the street. Now, how much would you make from a photograph of a girl walking along a street?
It's a case of how long's a piece of string, really. In an exclusive situation, you're talking thousands. In a non-exclusive situation, it could be hundreds, but if you get the right frame, that could make thousands as well. You say it's photographers taking pictures of a girl walking along the street, but there's no law against that. And then you can see the photographers are standing a respectable distance back from Kate whilst they're taking pictures as well.
Well, you say that as well, but I mean, we have seen people getting very close to her, haven't they? I mean, it presumably is almost harassment, isn't it, sometimes?
No, it's not harassment at all. As I said, there's no law against taking pictures of somebody in the street. I could just as easily take pictures of you.
Yes, no, and on very few occasions actually it has been my turn. And actually, I must say I didn't really enjoy it very much. Reported that Kate's lawyers are going to complain to the Press Complaints Commission. Is there a code of conduct for photographers?
There's a code of conduct for publications in this country, and certainly they're governed by the PCC, and they all adhere to the PCC as much as they can. I mean, that's been demonstrated previously when Prince William was in Edinburgh attending university. There was an agreement between the palace and the PCC of the newspapers to remain a respectful distance away from William and give him the chance to have as normal a life as possible at university.
What would stop the paparazzi taking photographs of Kate Middleton?
That will never stop. It's a case of supply and demand. There's a huge demand for pictures of Kate, from seeing what she does in her day-to-day life to seeing what she wears every day. Every magazine, every newspaper in this country, and certainly pretty much every magazine internationally want to run pictures of Kate. They want to see what she does, they want to see what her life is about, what she looks like, what she wears.
Would that make any difference if she got protection from the Royal Protection Squad?
No, not at all. There's still just as much interest, and today's newspapers, for example, run a story about how she doesn't wear a dress made by the fashion label she works for. She's wearing a dress that she bought from a high street chain. Now, I can guarantee you there'll be hundreds, if not thousands, of people going today to buy that exact dress.
Joe Sene, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Time now 17 minutes to 7. You're watching the News Hour here on GMTV, and these are this morning's headlines. The Home Secretary is holding an urgent meeting this morning after the revelation that a Home Office blunder may have allowed dangerous criminals and sex offenders to work with children.
The Australian drug runner Bradley Murdoch has lost his appeal against his conviction for murdering the British backpacker Peter Falconio.
And investigations are continuing into the cause of a fire which destroyed mansions in the show business suburb of Malibu in California. Well, as you heard in the headlines there, urgent talks are to be held at the Home Office in the next few hours after it emerged a blunder may have allowed dangerous criminals and sex offenders to work with children. Details of the crimes they committed abroad were left lying in files rather than being added to the National Crime Database. Late last night, the Home Secretary admitted he was very concerned.
Well, this is a very serious problem, and I take it very seriously indeed. That's why I've called in the police and the Criminal Records Bureau tomorrow morning for an urgent meeting, and I want to establish the facts and satisfy myself that everything has been done to protect the public.
We're joined now by Sarah Payne, who campaigns to change the law to protect children, and by the Liberal Democrats Home Affairs spokesman Nick Clegg. Sarah, if I could begin with you. Your reaction to the fact that 27,000 files have been gathering dust in the Home Office, and the authorities, until recently anyway, had absolutely no idea where these people who committed crimes abroad, including paedophiles, were or what they were doing?
Well, we've always known it's been a problem, paedophiles that commit offences abroad and then their names are not transferred back. That's always been a bit of a problem. and the same the other way around when we have our sex offenders, they go abroad and they commit offences over there, the information isn't being shared. The good thing is that John Reed's called in the police and the Criminal Investigations Bureau. They're looking into it now. Let's hope that they can get on with it and, you know.
But who knows what's going on in the past, where
Absolutely.
these people are. They could be working with your children,
well,
my children,
you know, what was it, less than 6 months ago we had them working in our schools. That's been pointed out and changed, and every time we find something we can change it. And at least we're finding out about things now. You know, 6 years ago we probably wouldn't have even heard of this.
I suppose that's some comfort, Nick Clegg, but I'm still left wondering how the hell it happened. I mean, in any other walk of life, in any other organisation, if a scandal like this was unearthed, people would be fired. Is anyone going to be fired from the Home Office, do you think?
I hope the finger of blame won't just be pointed at faceless bureaucrats and civil
Why not?
servants.
They run the place.
Well, because I think you need political responsibility. I mean, I think the public's going to ask, you know, if John Reed is not responsible, who is? Just to say you didn't know about it. I mean, it's asking us to accept that ignorance is an excuse for incompetence. It's a bit like saying...
But come on, he runs a massive organisation employing thousands of people. He can't possibly know what's in every drawer.
Oh, well, if we take that view, then we can forgive we can just absolve ministers of responsibility about anything that happens in their departments. It seems to me that this is a very, very serious issue in which dangerous people might now be out and about in our communities.
Children might be at risk.
Absolutely. Vulnerable people and kids might be at risk. Simply to say, I'm sorry, Gov, I didn't know, seems to me to be a very lame excuse indeed. It's a bit like someone who's caught speeding saying, sorry, officer, I didn't know I was speeding, please let me off.
Meanwhile, today also, Sarah, the NSPCC are calling for better monitoring of sex offenders, something that's very much in your field of interest. And they're calling for a sort of contact point for people who've got concerns about people in their neighbourhood to go to. What's your reaction to that? Why is that necessary?
Well, we've been sitting on meetings with the stakeholders at the Home Office in the last 6 months. We've been doing quite a few meetings. The NSPCC have been part of that, so many charities and officials, probation, all sorts of people. And what they've been discussing is the most serious. I think what the NSPCC are trying to point out today is that there are medium and low risk offenders which are still a risk to our children, and I totally agree. It is a problem that's got to be addressed.
Well, people can go to the police. They don't do that. They don't tend to do that.
They don't, actually, because it's one of the things that is, it's the worst thing to accuse somebody of if you're not sure. So to have someone where you can go with a phone number, where you can go and ask some questions, and then maybe, you know, get somebody else to investigate without actually accusing someone of being a paedophile, you can just say that you're worried about the behaviour.
Well, do you not concede, Nick, that since the days that poor Sarah lost her dear Sarah, this government has done a lot to improve things? It may not be perfect, certainly far from perfect, but they have actually done quite a lot to improve the situation and try and make better checks on the people like this in our community.
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be churlish and wrong to suggest that great efforts have not been made. There's an ongoing debate, which, you know, as well as I do, is still going on about whether the law needs changing, whether we need something which, you know, the Americans call Megan's Law.
Which Sarah advocates.
Yeah, absolutely, which we don't share the same view on that, but that's really about a practical judgment about what is the best way to try and make sure that children are protected most safely. So I think considerable efforts have been made. I think the debate is still, as the NSPCC report suggests, still open about whether the sex offenders register, whether its reach is wide enough. And I think everybody needs to work together to make efforts on behalf of our children.
Okay, there we're going to leave it. Love to hear your views about that Home Office blunder. You know where we are, gm.tv or 81189 if you want to text us. Sarah, thanks very much, Dean. Nick, thanks so much to you.
Time is 12 minutes to 7. You're watching the News Hour here on GMTV. Now, it's the gadget which promises it all. It's an iPod and a camera, but crucially, it's also a mobile phone. Apple hopes that its long-awaited iPhone, unveiled in a blaze of publicity in America last night, will help it take a big bite out of the global mobile phone market. But could it be a flop? Well, Cordelia Kretschmeyer's in New York. Sounds like a pretty exciting gadget, actually, Cordelia.
It does, doesn't it? Let's just think about it. It's a phone, a BlackBerry, a camera, and an iPod, all in one. And you know what I'm thinking? Could this possibly mean a tidy handbag and no more rummaging around to find out what that thing is that's beeping? The best thing about all of this is that the iPhone, as it's called, is very thin. It's thinner even than some of the top-of-the-range smartphones on the market today. For example, I'm thinking of the really thin one, the Motorola Razr. It's thinner than that one. They've done away with the miniature keyboard that you get on a lot of these smartphones. Instead, they've just got a glass touch screen and one single button. And from that, you switch between all the various applications. The Apple's big showman launched the product in Silicon Valley, wowed the gadget geeks over there earlier today. He basically said they'd revolutionized the mobile phone.
It's so good. For the communication is good. Also, I heard they have something about the internet is better. And pictures, they're clear and everything.
Never even heard of it, but I have a phone that does almost the same thing. It's called the Engage.
Probably not for $500. I can't imagine using that much with a phone for that.
Obviously, that wasn't the man from Apple explaining about the about how brilliant this phone, iPod, etc., etc., etc. is. That was actually people on the street explaining about it. It is quite a lot of money, isn't it? That's the point.
Yes, it's going to cost $500, nearly $500, £260. It's not out in America till June, so we don't know how sales are going right now. Not out in the UK till the end of the year, but that's pretty clever because you know what's going to be on everyone's Christmas list now, don't you?
Thank you very much, Cordelia. I look forward to it. Just before we go, have you ever suffered from pins and needles? Did it feel a bit like that?
Ooh, what's going on there? Is it acupuncture?
It's self-acupuncture.
Ooh,
I'm not quite sure I could ever put... Can you imagine putting that many pins and needles in your head? That's it from us, Fiona and Andrew, limbering up for GMTV today.
Guess who they've got? They've got Henry Winkler on the show live.
First, there is a lot of damp around. Claire is here to tell you how much.